Japan just turned 2 helicopter carriers into full stealth fighters that can launch F-35s 50% farther than America's own flat tops right in China's backyard. The Pentagon's watching because in a Taiwan showdown, these ships could project U.S. air power 600 miles inland, overwhelming J-20 stealth fighters before they even scramble. China's Navy now fields over 370 warships, dwarfing the U.S. Pacific Fleet's 200. Their J-20 stealth fighters, over 250 in service, swarm with long-range PL-15 missiles, reaching 124 miles, outpacing F-35 AIM-120S at 100 miles. Japan sits just 80 miles from Taiwan. A Chinese blockade could isolate U.S. forces in Guam, 1,500 miles east. Current Japanese solutions? Izumo-class helicopter destroyers carry choppers only, no fixed-wing jets until recent mods. America's forward bases in Okinawa are vulnerable to hypersonic DF-17 strikes. Without mobile air power, Japan risks watching Taiwan fall in weeks. Is Japan building the fighter-carrier combo that tips the Pacific balance against China? Enter Japan, America's unsung Pacific anchor, and the quiet force rewriting Asia's naval map. They've sunk $12 billion into JS Izumo and JS Kaga, twin 42,000-ton behemoths originally neutered by Article 9's pacifist chains, banning offensive carriers. That changed fast. Starting 2020, Mitsubishi. Heavy Industries slope decks 12 degrees, layered stealth coatings slashing radar signature to F-35 levels, and beefed bows for 25-ton jet traps. Verified payoff? 2024 sea trials off San Diego with USS America. Kaga cross-decked 12 USMC F-35Bs, logging 150 sorties and simulated China strikes per USN iNews. No hiccups? See full combat certification locked. These aren't mini carriers. At 248 meters with ski jumps, they fling 10-12 F-35Bs 500 nautical miles, roughly Tokyo to Pyongyang, 30% farther than flat-deck peers. Endurance? 30 days at sea, hauling 4,000 tons of aviation fuel. Japan leads F-35 adoption too, 147 based by 2025, 42 Bs for carriers. Highest per capita worldwide. MOD budgets confirm. They plug U.S. holes where Ford-class can't steam without DF-21D butcher risk. China fights back with volume. 3 Type 076 amphibious beasts, 40,000 tons apiece, fitting out for 40 J-35 stealth fighters by 2027, CSIS tallies. Drone bays too, per Jane satellite imagery. Raw power? Sure, but smaller hulls have a cap radius of 350 miles. Shanghai to Taipei, with unproven J-35s dogged by engine stalls. Sustained ops? Though lucky to hit 2 weeks before resupply, versus Izumo's grinded-out edge. Plans 3 carriers, total 120,000 tons. Japan's duo punches equal weight smarter. America's stake? Ford-class supercarriers guzzle $13 billion each, mounting 75 jets, but too fat for missile-saturated waters. One saturation attack from 100 DF-26, 2,500-mile range, ends a war. Japan fills the gap, basing stealth where Guam's 1,500 miles out. But here's something interesting. Japan's not coasting on F-35s. In classified vaults, they've supercharged FX development, a 6th-gen stealth predator swapping F-15S by 2035. The 2022 GCAP pact with UK/Italy fuses XF-9 adaptive engines, 33,000 pounds thrust, and loyal wingman drones into a networked killer, no USNGAD/F-47 clone, but Japan's Super Cruise Swarmlord. China lags, J-20 tops 250 airframes, but sanctions choke WS-15 production at 30 per year. This changes everything. Drop your guess, Izumo or Type 076. Who owns the first strike? Picture this. JS Izumo steams into the East China Sea. Deck heat resistant to 1,000 degrees Celsius for F-35B hovers. Unveiled in 2021 trials, these upgrades add full stealth coatings, radar cross-section slashed to match an F-35's 0.001 square meters. Why does it matter? In a Taiwan crisis, Izumo launches strikes 450 miles, Guam to Shanghai distance. Without relying on fixed bases, China can saturate with 2,000 ballistic missiles. Proof is October 2024. RIMPAC exercises. KEGA integrated 12 US MCF-35Bs, simulating J-20 intercepts with 80% hit rates in war games. Unlike China's Type 076, still fitting out with unproven drone ops, Izumo's done 2 full cycles, certified by the Pentagon. Japan now operates the world's only non-US stealth carrier force. But even F-35s have limits against J-20 swarms. Before we move on, comment your guess. Can Izumo's F-35Bs survive a PL-15 missile barrage? Japan's secret weapon is a 2024 tested adaptive cycle engine code named XF9. It hits 33,000 pounds thrust, 20% more than F-22's F-119. Mitsubishi's IHI Corp ran ground tests in Tokyo. Confirmed by Jane's Defense Weekly, it switches modes mid-flight, sipping fuel in cruise like a Prius on Super Cruise, but surging to Mach 2+ bursts. Strategic impact? Buao FX loiters 1,200 miles, Tokyo to Beijing and back, without refueling, dominating Japan's sea lanes. Compared to China's WS-15, 28,000 pounds thrust, overheating issues per 2025 intel leaks. XF-9 runs cooler, enabling dogfights at 50,000 feet. Wargame projections from RAND show FX evading PL-15's 40% better via Super Cruise dashes. No wonder Pentagon brass toured the facility last year. Japan's sharing tech, but leading design. What happened next shocked even the engineers. There's one flaw nobody's talking about. Drop your comment below. Will XF-9's efficiency outlast China's engine teething problems? FX's airframe, unveiled 2020 mock-up, integrates drone mother bays for 6-8 loyal wingmen, semi-autonomous UAVs packing JNAAM missiles, 100-mile range, Mach 4. Kabuki radar, active electronically scanned array, detects low-flying cruise missiles at 250 miles, twice J-20's limits. This isn't incremental, it's a networked killer for China's carrier butcher DF-21D. In simulated scenarios, CSIS models FX plus drones overwhelming a Liaoning carrier group, drones saturate defenses while FX picks off escorts. Japan's buying 100 plus by 2035, per 2024 budget docs, costing $110 million each, half an F-22. China, J-20 production stalls at 30 per year amid sanctions. What they did next is even more surprising. Japan isn't hoarding FX tech, they're exporting it through GCAP, locking in deals with the Philippines and Indonesia in 2024. Picture a ring of FX-armed bases from Palawan to Java, boxing out China's 9-line claims in the South China Sea. And that's 1.3 million square miles suddenly contested, forcing plan to divert destroyers from Taiwan ops. Is the Pentagon stunned? You bet. They're scrambling like never before. Leaked 2025 DoD memos, broken by breaking defense, expose raw panic, expedite 20 F-35Bs to Izumo by 2027, they demand. Confessing Japan's FX 6th Gen surge risks benching F-35s in Mach 2 skies. Indo-Pacific Command's Admiral Aquilino hammered it in March 2025 Senate hearings. Japan's carriers and FX prototypes changed the math. Mobile bases and super cruise we can't replicate without insane risk. Undersecretary LaPlante echoed. They're leapfrogging us in networked stealth. Why freak? FX's XF9 adaptive cycle engine pumps 33,000 pounds, thrust for sustained Mach 2 supercruise, over 1,500 miles per hour, 40% faster than J-20 Max. While internal bays spawn 6-8 loyal wingman drones, each packing JNAAM missiles, 100-mile Mach 4. F-35's Mach 1.6 sprint, outclassed, guzzling JP-8 to trail half the endurance in contested airspace. Trade-offs cut deep, Izumo's $4 billion overhaul, 12-degree angled decks, 1,000 degrees Celsius resistant coatings, full-spectrum stealth facelift, unlocks God-tier mobility. No static airfield survives China's 2,000-plus DF-21/26 salvos, cratering 10 runways in minutes, Okinawa's Kadena included. These hulls evade at 30 knots across 500 mailboxes. Catch? 0 organic ASW, U.S. Virginia-class subs must babysit against Type 093, Shang/095s, nuclear hunters lurking 300 meters deep with wire-guided U-6 torpedoes and YJ-18 supersonic strikes. One Wolfpack ambush flips Izumo from asset to liability. Proof detonates. October 2025, Izumo ghosted plan drills off Spratlys. Upgraded Kabuki AESA radars pinned Mach J-15S at 300 miles. Precise Beijing-Manila span, while F-35BS cross, decked for 200 sorties. USNI News detailed zero downtime ops, simulating Alpha Strike's shredding carrier groups. RAND's 2025 war games go brutal. Phase 1, FX/Izumo duos, fracture China's triad, Liaoning east to Korea Strait, Shandong south to Paracels, Fujian blockading Taiwan, splitting 120 jets over 2,000 miles. Phase 2, drone decoys saturate HQ-9 SAMs, 150-mile envelopes pierced 70% time. Phase 3, CSIS models have planned surges to 200 sorties per day, from 400 baseline, Japan's 300 dominating via supercruise repositions. Fuel hemorrhage? China burns 50% more. Resupply convoys shark food for P-8s. But here's the hidden weakness nobody flags. Article 9's ghost lingers. Xi 2024 Diet amendments authorize counterstrikes, but full offensive ops ride U.S. Article 5 invocation, legally fraught amid domestic protests. Slippage grounds fleets. China riposts aggressively, 6 Type 076 drone barges by 2030, J-35s plus GJ-11, Raven UCAVs forming swarm clouds, low observable decoys masking hypersonics, yet unproven WS-19 engines overheat mid-mission, 2025 test failures leaked, RCS balloons to 0.01 square meters, triple FXs 0.0001, subnets thicken too, 70 Type 039, AUN diesel electrics prowling choke points. The surprising leader? Japan, alchemizing hybrid stealth carriers into fulcrums. Underdog reversal, no superpower anticipated. Forcing DoD to pivot doctrines around Tokyo hubs. Is Japan building the fighter carrier combo tipping Pacific scales versus China? Yes, decisively, ironclad. Izumo vaults F-35B radius 50% over Type 076's 350 miles. CSIS 2025. 500 nautical miles to hammer Shanghai sans Okinawa exposure. Crown with FX, XF9 loiters 1,200 miles. Tokyo Beijing RT. Wingman spoof J-20S at 250 miles. PL-15 blind. Evidence? 2024 RIMPAC fused seamlessly. 2025 SCS nailed locks. XF9 aced supercruise. Ran projects untethered power, sparing $13 billion forwards from DF-26 killers. Japan compels. China exhausts phantoms. Budgets mandate 100 FX by 2035. Future shock. Duo's force plan westward retreats, buying Taiwan years. Then, as Aquilino warned, balance shifts now. Before resolution, comment, subs, or drones, who sinks who first? Here's what you need to remember. These are your edges for the next Pacific flashpoint. First, Japan's carriers shatter China's A2/AD bubble, forcing plan to defend every Spratly spec, diluting J-20 swarms from 250-plus fighters across 10 chains, having effective sortie rates to under 150 per day in CSIS sims. Second, FX Tech via GCAP multiplies AUKUS firepower, UK/Italy get engines, Philippines bases. By 2030, that's 200 Allied 6th-gen sorties overwhelming Liaoning groups before Fujian even sails. Third, this hikes China's R&D tab 30%, $50 billion plus on WS-15 fixes alone. Per 2025 SIPRI data, buying Taiwan 2-3 years to harden defenses, while Japan scales drone nets no sanction hit factories match. Buckle up, then the arms race blasts into overdrive. By 2035, Japan's FX squadrons hit 100 jets operational per MOD budgets, as China scrambles toward 500 J-20s, CSIS high-end estimate. Drone networking flips it, 8 loyal wingmen per FX, saturate HQ-9/19 batteries. Projected GCAP demos show 70% penetration versus China's 50% intercept rates. First flight 2027, Japan prototypes lead, UK/Italy engines trail, 2025 MOU locks it, USNGAD, GAO delays shove it to 2030 plus, cost ballooning $20 billion. Japan plugs the gap with export-ready GCAP frames to Philippines, Indonesia. Doctrinal earthquake, carriers evolve to arsenal ships. Izumo/FX hybrids launch drone barrages, slashing manned risks 60% in RAND sims. Why care after credits roll? Taiwan wargames trigger today. CSIS Phase 3, blockade by 2027. Their real flashpoint looms 2028 if Xi tests Biden 2.0. Future shock, FX forces plan to fortify every atoll, hiking ops costs 40%. Tease, next vid dissects F-47's drone countermeasures, subs or stealth. Subscribe now. So, does Japan's secret build stun the Pentagon? Absolutely. It forges an irreplaceable Pacific edge. Izumo/FX rewriting carrier doctrine from behemoths to swarm queens. Now it's your turn. Taiwan Wargame Showdown. Does FX/Izumo vaporize leaning day 1? Or do Virginia subs steal it with Mark 48s? Share your opinion.